How about this radical idea? What if people waited to have sex when they got married?
That will never happen.
Why?
Because people want to fuck. I'm being so...
I did it. Yeah, I waited for marriage. I mean, it was amazing.
That's amazing for you, but you are not
What
everybody.
about
But no,
people
but
who
hold
get
on.
married
I know it's not easy, but but that's a good question. Let me get to this though. Do those of you that haven't, I'm guessing you all haven't waited till you got married. Do you wish you did?
No.
No? No? Do any of you wish you... So, in the ideal, if I could paint a world for you that you only shared your sexual experience with one person that was your soulmate, that's not interesting to you?
No.
Oh, that's cool. But
Wait, you guys don't
that's an
regret
ideal world.
any of the men you've slept with?
I maybe
I don't believe in
regret a man that I've
soulmates.
slept with.
You don't
but
believe in soulmates?
Not
How
necessarily.
about best friend?
No.
You don't believe in best friends?
I've had a lot of best friends in my life.
Perfect match.
No.
I don't think that exists
You meet
either.
so
You
many
guys
people
are
throughout
so
your lifetime.
jaded.
I do
You
think
meet
the
so
sex
many-
is better when
you
you're
meet
in
so many
love.
people throughout your
So
lifetime.
jaded.
At least we're consistent.
No, you're very consistent.
You can have multiple soulmates.
Multiple soulmates.
Yeah.
I was saying, like, with as big as the world is, you're not going to necessarily find exactly one person.
Because you're going to grow
Yeah,
throughout your life.
Yeah.
We're
Because, I mean,
changing
like-
all the time.
And sometimes
Your
people don't grow
soulmate
with you.
is-
But
So-
if that person were to grow with you, then that's...
So then, if it's not a soulmate, then I mean this not facetiously, then what is the purpose of marriage?
I don't agree. I wouldn't do a legal marriage.
to come into a union.
Is marriage even a thing that we should care about?
If you got divorced, I don't wish that, but if
God
you got
forbid,
divorced
yeah.
in 10 years, what do you think of that?
I don't think that will happen. It's
Yeah,
not,
but
it's
if,
not,
like,
it's not even
let's-
a hypothetical I want to entertain.
Okay.
Charlie, do you think secular people should get married?
I think everyone should get married. I think it makes you a better person. What I find interesting, though, is that you've said it best. If you have as much sex as you want before, and marriage really doesn't mean much, does it?
No.
Do you think America was a better country when people waited to have sex when they got married?
You think everyone did that in America?
No, it was the vast majority of women in the 50s and 60s would not have premarital sex.
I don't think we have
Every
like,
study
the
shows it.
technology to prove that, though.
Well,
like, we
no.
don't have the data
I think
that
a
we
lot
would
of
have
women
now.
are
First
still
of all-
having sex outside of marriage.
First of all,
hiding it better.
talk to your grandparents' generation. We have studies, we have surveys, and we know this, by the way, because birth control wasn't that widespread.
Yeah, but you can still
And
have
we
sex
did not-
without getting pregnant.
Right, but we
There's
know.
like times and months with ovulation.
But hold on a
like
second.
that,
So let's
like-
just, you do not think that people are having more premarital sex today than they were 60 years ago?
I'm sure
No,
they are.
definitely
Yeah,
are.
no,
Okay,
That's
all right,
also
so-
because of
But
the
that doesn't mean they
internet and all
weren't
that.
at all before.
So
They
I'm
definitely
asking,
were
do you
before.
think
Or a
that's
vast
do you
majority.
think that's a good thing or a bad thing? That people are having more premarital sex?
I personally don't like it. I don't like hookup culture at all.
You don't like hookup culture, but you're not regretting sleeping with a bunch of guys before a soulmate. Help me
Yeah.
understand.
Okay, hold on.
And then, wait,
guys
but-
is
but
crazy.
Hold on, and you don't like
Bunch
hookup
of guys.
culture, but you also do
Okay.
OnlyFans. So
Okay,
help me understand all
so
this.
Let me okay, so my body count is 6, and 2 of those I was in a
Multiplied by 3,
relationship
that's
with.
the
The
good
third one I thought I was going to be in a relationship with. And the 3 before that, all of my friends were hooking up with guys, so I thought, like, oh, that's what I need to do, because they're all hooking up, so this is the normal thing. I should be hooking up. And I realized very quickly, I don't like hooking up with random men. I don't
Do
like
any
that.
of you think that women are being harmed by hookup culture?
Yes.
Yes.
I agree.
So you all agree with that, but then you say that no, you don't think women are being harmed by hookup culture?
No.
Okay.
Wait, what?
We'll get that in a second. However, so then why don't all of you make a commitment that you're going to save yourself for marriage? You could do that. Society might not have to.
Because I'm already past the point.
Well, you can make you can always become a new version of yourself. What's done is done, but you could say,
No.
I'm now going to save myself
wanna
from this
be-
point forward.
I don't want to be a new version. I want to be me, and they accept me for me.
What is me? What is that?
Whatever I've done in the past and up to this point.
So there's no improvement?
I don't need to improve necessarily. It's that I
don't need to improve, okay.
Hold on. It's that I don't need to hide what I've done.
No, I'm not saying hide, but for example, bad example, if one is an alcoholic and they go through AA, and no, it's okay, and then you become a new version of yourself. That's growth, right?
Yeah, that's growth, but they should still know what I've done.
No, of
hey,
course
in
they
the
know.
Past,
They know it, but
Yeah.
I'm not saying you hide it. I'm asking the question: what is the argument against any of you young ladies saying, you know what? I'm no longer going to have premarital sex. I'm going to wait till marriage. Hookup culture is destructive. I'm going to find a man who values with me. He's never been with another partner, and I'm going to start a new chapter. What is the argument against that?
Because then you're going to come on this podcast and we're going to have a 2-hour-long conversation about how if everybody waited in the drive-thru and they paid $100, why has a man got to pay $2? You're going to,
I
it's
don't
a conversation
understand it.
they have
Yeah.
on here about everybody being reborn. They're like, oh, so if you wait now, everyone's already done it. It's not fair to the next man.
Well,
They
well,
have this
I'm not-
conversation
I'm
every
not tracking your
podcast.
argument.
No, it's not really an argument necessarily.
She's giving an example about the fact that, like, if I don't, all these people are going to participate in this anyways. So why?
Oh,
does
I got it. Okay,
you're
but
kind
Yeah.
of going to get shit on it.
Yeah,
anyways,
you're gonna
is
get.
what I'm saying.
You're gonna get treated like garbage whether you do
oh,
it
so
or
you
not.
think you'll be treated like garbage if you don't have premarital sex?
Oh, easily.
Well, I just think maybe potentially the next guy wouldn't want to wait because they might be like, oh, but everyone
Hold
else
on,
didn't have
but
to
this
wait.
again, do you think that you have any leverage over the men in your relationships?
Probably
What
hope
what
so.
what do
yeah.
men want more than anything else?
Probably sex.
Why don't you stop giving it to them?
Nobody's giving it to anyone. What
Well,
are you talking about?
Well, you said in your relationships you guys had premarital sex.
But
so
you could also like not participate in hookup culture and also decide to not wait until marriage. Like
But
those things don't have to
they're not.
be-
You're right. They're not synonymous.
Yeah.
But then if you aren't waiting till marriage, then you're basically saying marriage means nothing. That's effectively what you're saying.
Not necessarily
it's
because
not.
But then
you-
what is
Marriage is
what is
about
marriage?
Because
What is
like, for
marriage about?
Marriage is
example,
not about
It's more than
sex.
sex. You're right. But what is marriage about?
It's a bond between two people.
It's the person
a
that you choose to
formal
have a
bond.
family
I agree.
with.
So, but if you can't you have a
if
bond
meet,
without marriage?
If you meet
Yeah.
someone who you don't want to have a family with, but you're actually in love or whatever, and you want to have sex, you should be able to. And that's not hookup culture.
Well, no, you should, of course you should be able to. I'm not saying what
Exactly.
you. I'm
So
I'm
you
arguing
should- you
what
don't
one
have
ought
to
to
wait
do,
until
not what
marriage.
able to do. Able and ought are two different words. Able, fine. You have the freedom to do it.
Of course, yeah.
I'm saying in the ideal, what is the argument against the women of America saying, men, you have to marry me to be able to sleep with me?
But also why?
Well,
why?
you should ask your co-host right here because he doesn't want to get married.
Yeah, I don't want to get married. You know, look, maybe I might have a
I'm a super trad guy, so excuse my question.
So
Look,
if
me,
you-
me and
can I
Charlie
also-
aren't going to agree on everything.
Yes.
But, so what, I mean,
I do
No,
think that
I-
sexual compatibility is important in a
Well, I
marriage.
guess
Because that
Can
was
I
one of
ask-
the biggest
you go.
pieces of tension with my ex-husband is, I mean, we had a sexless marriage.
yeah, that's a
And-
problem.
yeah, I guess.
I mean,
But
and
you s-
my,
but you-
and my
you
new
s-
husband and I mean, we waited a while.
And you said that he was more of a femboy, right? The first one, or like
I
more
mean-
feminine, right?
It wasn't necessarily.
Sorry.
I mean, he was
Or
a big,
beta?
tall Mexican,
Okay.
but
Okay.
he just like I made a lot more than he did.
Oh,
He
okay.
Do you,
really
can I
wasn't a
ask?
provider.
Do you
I-
think that men should wait until marriage,
Of
or
course,
just
absolutely.
women? Okay,
Yeah.
because I agree with that. Then, if women have to wait, men have
I
to wait
think
as
that
well.
America, there's a lot of problems with America. One of the problems has been that sex, in its ideal, is weighted in a holy setting between a male and female that share that experience only with their life partner. Now, there's exceptions, there's mistakes, but if we just throw it all out the window and say men won't like me and hookup culture, I think there's a lot of damage and a lot of ramifications for that. And again, the point being is this, is I believe firmly young ladies are damaged mentally by having too many sexual partners.
I think men
agree
are
with
too,
that.
Okay.
though. I think
No,
men
they're
are
not.
too.
Men-
I think men are too.
Hookup culture hurts women far more
Oh,
than it
I
hurts
agree.
men.
It hurts women more, but I think men are like I don't think men realize how damaging it is as well to them.
No, maybe. Of course, there's damage to all people, but men are wired differently. Where many sexual partners for men does not hurt men nearly as much as many sexual partners for women, because women are far more relational driven and far more bond driven. So they look at sex as a culmination of a bond, where men look at it as sex, as physical, purely, not always with those other elements, unless there is a component of we're going to try to develop a long-lasting bond here. And the question is,
so do you think that men have driven hookup culture then because they don't care about it as much?
I think that it's both. I think women are driving it too. I think it's both. I think
But you're saying that when women have sex, they need to have that bond, and they're more concerned.
it's how they're
with-
wired.
Yeah, so women are wired to want to have a bond when they're having sex with
That's
someone.
correct.
But men don't care. So would you not think that men are driving hookup culture then?
No, I think both sides are. I mean, I think that men
So
are driving because women are making themselves available. That's the point. Is
Because they think it's going to be a longer bond.
Yeah,
If
Yes.
that's
with
kind
your
of
Yes.
kid.
no, of course, and women should know male nature before they start sleeping around
Hold
with men.
on. So is it a woman's fault or is it the
It's
man's
both.
fault?
It's both. If every woman today that was marketable, and all of you guys are on the market, correct, looking for life partners?
I've never been on the market.
Okay.
Okay, no,
But
she's
if
laughing.
every one of you, it's simple supply and demand. If you said, we're off limits until the ring is there and the priest says the final vows,
Mm-hmm.
how would men react, hypothetically?
They would
That
hop
would
on
decrease half the dating pool, probably, at least.
I totally disagree, because we know what that world looks like. We used to have it 50 or 60 years ago. You know what? Men grow up quicker. They stop being man-childs and infants.
tough.
So you're one of the ones who also probably argues against like there's like sexual chemistry and stuff like that. You probably argue no, that's
No,
not
I think
real,
sexual
or-
chemistry is a real thing, but it's a culmination of different types of love that are not just erotic. There are deeper types of love that transcend the physical. Physical is part of it. Sexual compatibility, as you say, is a huge part of the relationship. But all of you know this. You could have a partner where you had great sex and you have nothing in common. That's not a relationship. That's a orgasm and a one-night stand
That's
or
a
whatever.
situationship.
Yeah, okay, it's fine. A situationship. That's not something to build a life around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so no, we're not disagreeing. I just, without legislation or big decrees, I know this, that men have very primal, undeveloped, immature sexual natures, and that is not going to change.
So should
However-
women be punished for men taking
No,
advantage
I'm
of
not
women
saying
for that?
I'm not punishing. I'm not talking about anything. I'm talking about cultural stuff, not legislation
No,
or
I'm
punishing.
asking about hookup culture again, but
But if women want a man that they are worthy of, and many of you are not getting men you are worthy of, then you need to then stop giving the one thing that men want the most. And that is unlimited amounts of sex all the time, bodies on the internet, because men will only view you as a visual stimulation and they'll move on. And if you disagree, you do not understand male nature.